pavattitang appativattiyan samanena va brahmanena va devena va marena va ragnuna va kena chiva lokasmin
Good evening, Dharma friends. We are going to start this Saturday evening Sutta study class. I just want to welcome you all with the wholesome thoughts in mind. May you all have a wonderful time with the teachings of the Buddha, and we try our best to bring the beautiful Dhamma of the Buddha in a simplest manner so that we all benefit from this wonderful session of Sutta discussion. With such wholesome thought in mind, let me begin the Sutta studies by paying homage to the Buddha with the recitation of Namo Tassa in 3 times in Pali and also in English. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So friends, we are ready to begin today's Sutta studies with the selected Sutta. I personally select those Suttas for the classes, and today I selected one of the discourses from the first part of the Majjhima Nikaya called Vammika Sutta. And I just want to tell you that if you think that this discourse is really important, and if you have anything in mind, please suggest me by an email so that we can look into those important discourses you suggest and take them in the discussion. In my selection, I always select very deep, but very thoroughly addressing discourse of each and every Buddhist principles, so that we all can learn them. The Buddha, when he explained the Dhamma to bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, he did not wait for monks to suggest different teachings. He himself thought that I should deliver this discourse, and we can see that lay people who are in the prime time of the practice were targeted by the Buddha with deep teachings, so that those lay people also understood the Dhamma very well, just like the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. So, having this in mind, I always select suttas in which the Four Noble Truths or the Noble Eightfold Path, Paticcasamuppada, Karma, explained very clearly. So, today's discourse is Vammika Sutta. It is the Sutta number 23 in Majjhima Nikaya. In this section, we can find many discourses where the Buddha used similes, analogies, and any supportive things for his deep teaching. Vammika Sutta Vammika is the Pali word for ant hill. The hill or the mountain-like things that made by ants is the title of the discourse. And this sutta is really significant because it unfolds very beautiful Dhamma with the simile. So we are going to read the discourse and discuss the important factors as before. So then you can understand how beautiful this important discourse of the Buddha in the name of Vamika or Ant Hill. This discourse was delivered by the Buddha when he was at the Jetas monastery in Savatthi. Uh, there, Buddha, delivered the discourse when one of the monks came with some questions. So Venerable Kumara Kassapa, he was one of the greatest monk at the time of the Buddha for some reason. And this monk, before he attained full enlightenment, came to the Buddha with with questions, and this sutta came into existence as the response to Venerable Kumara Kassapa by the Buddha. Um, Before we go to the details of the discourse, I just want to give a summarized understanding about the sutta for you, so that you can follow the sutta. Uh, we can find that divine intervention into monks in this discourse. We can find this kind of divine intervention or support for monks and lay people equally in some occasion, due to the strong ability of those monks and nuns and lay people to attain enlightenment. Then only divine intervention or support or friendship started. So in this discourse, one of the Brahma uh, came to Venerable Kumara Kassapa and explained the riddle of 10 questions, but Venerable Kumara Kassapa did not understand them, and this divine Brahma suggested that the answers for those questions could only be from the Buddha or solid disciples in the Buddha's teaching. There is no one, no, there's no one in this world who can solve this riddle. The divine Brahma talked to Venerable Sariputta. So we can find in this discourse that that divine intervention or support, then the riddle of the anthill, then Venerable Kumar Kassapa approached the Buddha with the riddle of the anthill. And then if you read the discourse, you can see the riddle of the anthill repeated twice. Once when the divine being explained to it Venerable Kumarakassapa, then Kumarakassapa approached the Buddha and explained to the Buddha the riddle of the anthill. Then we can find Buddha's explanation to the riddle of the anthill. So that is the discourse. Relatively, this is a small discourse in Majjhima Nikaya, but the important factors of the discourse could take us into all the Dhamma elements in the discourse. Therefore, I just want to read this so that you have enough time and space to come out with some brilliant ideas. Let me start with this. Um, when the night was advanced, a certain deity of beautiful appearance, who illuminated the whole of the blind men's grove, approached the Venerable Kumara Kassapa and stood at one side. So standing, the deity said to him. So Venerable Kumara Kassapa was the Andavana. It is translated as men's grove, the blind men's grove. The reason why this Andavana, that particular name came to that forest, is because long time ago, there was actually during the time of Buddha Kassapa, as I remember, there was a Anagami called Sorata. Then he was in this forest, and bandits, a group of bandits was going through the forest, and they found this Anagami Soratha. So then they beat this Anagami Soratha, the disciples of the Buddha Kassapa, and disturbs in many ways. And as I remember the story, so that all the men in the group of bandits became blind due to the bad karma of such behaviors. Then this name came to this forest. Don't ask me questions how this come to the how Buddha's time. If that happened during the time of the Buddha Kassapa, were there any disasters happen between the two Buddhas? How could I don't have answers to those questions, but it is recorded in the commentary that how this name, the blind men's grove, Andavana, came into existence. So by its name, we can see that Andavana, blind forest. So Venerable Kumarakasapa was in that forest, and we come to know from the text that many monks and nuns and so even the Buddha lived in this forest for some time for meditation. And Mara, the evil one, evil deity, came to those monks and nuns and even the Buddha to disturb. So this forest area is famous for not only Buddhist monks and nuns, but even for other religious people. Sometimes mendicants find and stay in a forest area because naturally that area gives some seclusion away from people's interaction. It could be silent. It could have some caves and big trees where the shade is so good from the sun and also the rain, so that monks and nuns and even other mendicants could find this kind of forest areas for them to rely. And lay people, average people, do not want to go into such forests because they fear of having some unusual sound, unusual, you know, hearing, seeing, that sort of things are there always in average people's mind. So they do not want to go there, so that mendicants find perfect situation in such forests. So Kumarakasapa was there in to meditate because he did not get enlightened yet. If I go to relate to his story, I think it takes 20 minutes, so that I do not want to go to that story. Why, how Kumara Kassapa came into the order, and what sort of person he has been before he came to the order, and there is a history for him as well that the Buddha uttered later on. And if I go to tell everything, I think it takes a lot of time of our discussion, so that I do not go to the history of Venerable Kumarakasapa. Just remember that Kumarakasapa is a versatile, extraordinary monk, for especially explaining Dhamma in a beautiful way. But hardly we find suttas delivered by Kumarakasapa except Payasirajanya Sutta. Buddha gave the title uh, the foremost monk who explained things beautifully for Kumarakasapa, but we do not find discourses recorded in the Tripitaka that much, except one or two. Anyway, maybe he was explaining the same thing the Buddha or the Venerable Sariputta or the other monks did, so that Venerable Ananda did not want to repeat them at the first Sangha Council. That's why we do not have many discourses delivered by Venerable Kumarakasapa. Uh, this deity is also had a relationship with Venerable Kumarakasapa before this incident. At the time of Buddha Kassapa, 7 friends uh, got together and discussed that how unfortunate the teachings of the when Buddha Kassapa is going to disappear because people do not practice the Dhamma anymore. So these young but very intelligent seven, young people went into the forest and climbed up a huge mount, rock by with the help of a ladder, and they throw away the ladder and started meditation. And their vow was to attain enlightenment and do not go anywhere without attaining enlightenment. That is their vow. And one the elders of the group attain to full enlightenment in 3 days, and the second elder was attained to anagami level, third level of enlightenment with special powers, but rest of the group, five friends, did not attain to any stage of enlightenment and died by starvation. So these five, as you know, the arahants did not have any future birth because of his mind, because of the status of his mind. Then the anagami reborn in Brahma realm, and the other five came all the way of the samsara and reborn as individuals during the time of the Gautama Buddha. And they are not anyone else but Kumarakassapa, Dabbamalla, Sabiyavasamba, Daruchiriya, and Pukkusati. So these five monks are extraordinary monks in the Sasana because of many reasons. And Kumarakassapa came to the order when he was 7 years old, and his birth was also extraordinary, and he came to the full understanding of the truth at a very early stage of his life, so that he was able to help the other monks. So Venerable Kumarakasapa was such a great monk. And I just wanted to actually tell about the divine being who came to Venerable Kumarakasapa and also Daruchirya, the same one. Do you remember that story during the time of when Buddha Kassapa? One attained to Anagami level, and that Anagami passed away there and reborn in Brahma realm. This Brahma helped Daruchirya with the message of the self-enlightened Buddha when the Daruchirya was meditating alone with that bark clothes. And now Venerable Kumarakasapa was influenced by this deity with this riddle of the anthill, and that is because of the friendship they had. So this deity, therefore, was a former friends, but Venerable Kumarakasapa did not know about that. So in the discourse, we can see that this deity standing near Venerable Kumarakasapa while he was at the Andavana, tells Kumarakasapa, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhu, this anthill fumes by night and flames by day. So the anthill that the deity is talking about is fumed by night and flame by day. Thus spoke the Brahmins, delve with the knife, thou wise one, dwell with the knife. The wise one saw a bar, and so let me tell you this. Now we have entered into the riddle of question, anthill. So this deity is explaining the riddle. What is that? Anthill is anthill fume by night and flame by day. Okay, so there is a Brahmin, there is a particular person near the anthill, and tell another person to take the knife, a huge knife, and dig into anthill just because there is something in it. Then this, based on the wise person's advice, the second person is digging the anthill, and he found a bar. kind of long bar inside the anthill. That is the first object he finds. So then this is the bar. He said, okay, leave it out and start digging the anthill again. Thus spoke the Brahmin. Then throw out the bar, delve with the knife. Wise one, delving with the knife, the wise one saw a toad. Then, when he started digging the anthill again, he found a toad, an animal. You can see them in different categories. This is not a small one, a relatively big one, which make his body like a balloon when there is a threat coming. So that kind of toad is found. Then the particular wise Brahmin tells the person who dig the anthill, throw it away, keep it out, start digging again. Then when the person dig the anthill again, he found a toad is something yeah. Then he found a fork. Third one, he found a fork. It's kind of wood which has two separate wood that goes through the main one. So that is fork. Then the wise person said that take it out, keep it away, and started digging. Then we can find in the discourse that this person who is digging found out a sieve, a kind of strainer that we use to strain water and drink. And when you are in the forest, you should have a strainer. You use the patra or the cup or whatever bottle you have. Then you put it on top of it and pour the water just to get the leaves and small animals out of the water for us to drink. So that kind of strainer is found next. So then the wise person said that keep it out as well. How many things that now the person found out from the anthill? First one is a bar. Second one is a toad. Third one is a fork. The third one is a fork, and fourth one is a kind of strainer. Now started digging. The person who digging the anthill found a tortoise. A tortoise. Then the wise person tells, keep it out, and started digging again. Then for the sixth time, he found a butcher's knife and block. So butcher's knife and block. That is the sixth one they found. Then he kept it away and started digging again. And the wise person found uh, for the seventh time is a piece of meat. Piece of meat. So then the wise person tells the other person to put it away like the other, objects they found and kept away, and started digging again. Then they found a naga, a serpent, huge cobra. Then wise person tells, do not, leave the naga away. Don't harm the naga. Just pay your respect to the naga because of myths and because of other teachings behind it. So usually naga and cow and some other animals in Indian subcontinents are venerated so much. This made this wise person in the riddle tells the other person not to harm the naga and also respect the naga, just because we want to get out of the terrible attack from the naga. But do we find this in the meaning of the riddle? Let's see what we have after this riddle. So now Buddha has finished this riddle. Uh, so if you had read the discourse earlier, somehow you can understand what exactly this riddle actually says. we find some items, and this is called riddle of 10 questions, which means we have 10 things, more than 10 things to understand. So in the explanation by the Buddha, we can find all these things. Basically, those things we found out from the anthill, and some other things are explained in the Buddha's explanation. Let me begin. Bhikkhus, you should go to the, now the divine, the Brahma is talking after to Venerable Kumarakasava after explaining this riddle. Bhikkhu, you should go to the Buddha and ask him about this riddle. Uh, as the Buddha tells you, you should, so you should remember it. Bhikkhu, other than the Tathagata or the Buddha, or a disciple of the Tathagata, or one who has learned it from them, I see no one in this world with its gods and its maras and its brahmas in this generation, with its recluse and brahmins, its princes and its people, who explain, whose explanation of this riddle might satisfy the mind. That is what was said by the deity, who therefore vanished at once. So after telling the riddle of the anthill to Venerable Kumarakasapa, this divine being disappeared then and there. So he said, go to the Buddha and explain this riddle and get the teachings of the behind this riddle from the Buddha. Then when the night was over, Venerable Kumarakasapa went to the Buddha. After paying homage to the Buddha, he sat down at one side and told the Buddha what had happened, what had happened during the day. Then he asked Venerable Sir, what is the anthill? So now Venerable Kumarakasapa explained the riddle of the anthill to the Buddha, and now he formed questions one after the other about the riddle. What is the anthill? What is the knife? And what is the anthill? What is the fuming by night? What is the flaming by day? Who is the Brahmin? Who the wise person? What is the knife? What the delving with? What is the bar? What is the toad? What is the fork? What is the sieve? What is strainer? What is the tortoise? What is the butcher's knife and block? And what is the piece of meat? And at last, what is the meaning of naga? What is the meaning of serpent? So Venerable Kumarakasapa asked all these questions. Friends, before I go to the Dhamma part of the anthill, I just want to tell that this is the very instructions Venerable Kumarakasapa kept in mind and meditated for his enlightenment. After getting advice from the Buddha with the explanation of the riddle, he went back to the forest and meditated. Soon he understood the full enlightenment. Therefore, this important teachings of the anthill, Sutta, could influence people to understand the non-self nature, impermanence nature of body and mind. Because this anthill, and now we move on to the explanation of Dhamma, because this anthill is bringing up a nice Dhamma for us. Let's start. Bhikkhu, the anthill is a symbol for this body. The anthill is a symbol for this body, made of material form, consisting of the four great elements, procreated by a mother and father, built up out of boiled rice, porridge, and subject to impermanence, to begin worn and rid away to dissolution and disintegration. So basically, this anthill in the sutta is compared to our physical body. Have you seen the anthill? I have seen the many anthills on my own, because I am from a rural area of Sri Lanka where paddy cultivation, other crops cultivation are still being doing, so that there are many ant hills. And I have seen snakes and other type of serpents live in the ant hill, so that I personally experience how big they are, and how ants made them with sands, and what how useful the ant hill for people, especially when they make those huts like houses in rural villages. They use that particular soil of the ant hill and mix with cow dung and make the floor of the house just like the cement. It's very healthy and also very cool when you use the mud of the ant from the ant hill mixed with something like cow dung. It is so good for the health, and it is cool. The entire floor of the house is cool as well. So I have been with these kind of things many times, especially before I became a monk. So I think you have seen ant hill. It's with so much compartments and tunnels. I don't know. I do not know why ants make those big tunnels, because they are so small. But as a result of these big tunnels, serpents go, and all kinds of animals go in and save their life from dangers, especially from tigers, lions, and hyenas, and other animals that kill small animals. So this anthill is made by small sand with the saliva of those ants, and they are very strong. It's just like a concrete, construction, concrete, building. So this body, that is not the part we want to take. Uh, just like the anthill is made by the ants with small sand, this body is also made by the four great elements. It is said here, procreated by a mother and father, built up out of boiled rice and porridge, and subject to impermanence, and subject to suffering, being worn and rid away, subject to dissolution and disintegration. So, do you see the important teachings behind? We all should think that this body is just like anthill. In the anthill, there are a number of tunnels and holes, and in this body also we have holes, openings, the mouth, the nose, ears, eyes, ears, and other openings to the environment. This body, in if you look at the inside of the body, you can see many items. And if you are a doctor who knows about the body part, and if you have read the anatomical parts of the body and watched how this body is constructed during autopsy, you can see the inside of the body. So we all know the fact that we know what this body is. So for a mendicant, for a person who tries to get out of the suffering he or she experience, should think that this body is just like an hill. Why do we think in that way? Because this body is given by merits, and we came to this life because of merits, and this body is beautiful according to many people, and it should be fed with everything we available. So why do we think that this body is like an anthill? Because, friends, we mistakenly, because of ignorance, think that this body is I, me, and myself. And ego, mind, is created based on this body. That's why Buddha always take the body as a fragile object. Kumbhupamankai mimangiditva. Just understand this body as a clay pot, and understand this body as a wood that is cut off from the tree, and this wood is going to decay to the soil, and it turn into the soil. This body is same as those wood, those clay pot, and now it is just like the ant hill made by ants. So the Buddha is explaining the riddle now, to Venerable Kumar Kassapa. What one thinks and ponder by night based on one's action during the day is the fuming by night. Say, uh, what one thinks and ponders by night based on one's action during the day is fuming by night. So when you go home after work, what you think in your mind is something you did during the day. You cannot reject that, because we all talk about in the dining table. We might be talking about, I met this person at the office and he was good, but the second person I met was terrible, and the interview I went for was terrible because the questions were irrelevant and I could not answer. So I saw a fight between a couple of people in the market area. So now you are talking about many things like that related to your life. Even unrelated things would be in your topic of conversation. So that is what you are talking in the dining table, and when you go to the bed, you might still be thinking of what you have been doing during the days, maybe about your business, maybe about your profession, maybe about your house related activities, something about your account, something about financial matters, so something related to your children. So now you are thinking about the next day based on what you have been today. That's why Buddha said here, fuming by night means what you have done during the day has been taken into your mind, and plan the things you should do next day based on what you have been doing yesterday or today itself. So that is, when you have such a thinking pattern, actually you are burning your mind. Not many people think peacefully. Majority of the worlds are burning with desire, burning with so many issues. Their thinking may not be peaceful at all. There may be a handful of people who have uh, you know who have been thinking nicely based on the truth they experience, and therefore their mind is not in fire like anger, hatred, ill will, jealousy, anxiety. But many people have those fires in their mind. That's why Buddha said that at night, fuming by at night. So the anthill is your body, and now you are thinking about tomorrow and day after tomorrow and things you should do with so much expectation. That's mean that fume comes out of your body as smokes. So it is going all the way. Now, then action one undertakes during the day by body, speech, and mind after thinking and pondering by night is the flaming by day. So what you have thought during the night as plans is working, worked out during the day. Suppose you thought of increasing your you know skills for the job, and you have been thinking of that at night. Now you execute your plan during the day. So it's kind of actual situation where you experience anger, frustration, even compassion, even kindness. So there may be unexpected occurrences during the day. You never thought about them at night. There are such situations, but you work during the day based on what you have projected last night or yesterday. That is how our mind works. Before you go to sleep, you think that I should wake up around 5 tomorrow morning just because I need to go a long distance. I need to go to a long distance place to meet my client, so that you think of cutting off of vegetables and putting them in the fridge and making sure that everything is in order in your room, in the kitchen area. So now you have been thinking of what you are doing next day morning before the sleep. So that is called fuming by night. Now, uh, uh, So you give me a second. Uh, my battery is going down in one computer, so I might get help to get it done. Uh, so now uh, your 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 daytime, you are working so hard to make your plan out. So that is called living with flames. Okay. So that is what the Buddha said, flaming by day. The Brahmin is a symbol for the Tathagata. So Brahmin, uh, Brahmin is saying to the other wise person to take the knife and dig out this animal. The Brahmin is not anyone else there, but the Buddha himself. Uh, Over there, the black one. So Brahmin is the Buddha. No, the black power cable for this over there. So the Brahmin is the Buddha. I'm sorry for the interruption because the computer battery is gone and now we are going to connect it. So Brahmin is the Buddha, and Buddha is telling the wise person, it means all of us, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis and lay followers, is telling that the Brahmin is a symbol for Tathagata, accomplished and fully enlightened. The wise person is a symbol for a bhikkhu in higher training. So the wise person is a symbol of bhikkhus and bhikkhus, bhikkhunis and lay followers, all of us. So the knife is a symbol of noble wisdom. The digging in is a symbol for arousing energy. So what we have in the training is is the body to take as the object of focus, and with wisdom we have to dive into the body just to see what it is. This is why we have 32 parts of the body and 4 great elements. So in Satipatthana, we have those meditation subjects to understand this body. In those meditation techniques, we take each part of the body separated and understand who we are and what we are. So when you take the wisdom, sammadityo, yoniso, manasikara as the weapon, you break this body into pieces and understand what this body is. So the wise person is a symbol for bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, and this wise person is taking the knife. It means the wisdom or yoniso manasikara or sammaditi, whatever name you use, it's fine. Now using the knife, this noble disciples is digging the anthill, which means with the using the knife is also has a particular way, that is arousing your energy. Now you have the knife, and you should have enough physical strength and mental strength to use the knife. So the way you use the knife is called spiritual energy, samma vayam in Pali, or virya, or four type of perseverance. You can use whatever names. That is called digging the anthill with the use of knife. The bar. What is the first thing they found out in this anthill? It is called bar. It's a kind of wooden bar. Ba is a symbol of ignorance. When you understand the body with the support of wisdom or sammaditi, the first thing you find out is that you do not know about, you did not know about this body, and your ignorance is coming, and you found out that you were ignorance, and ignorance is the first thing you come out uh, with this experiment or investigation. Ba is a symbol for ignorance, and the wise person was told by the Brahmin there to take the ba out of reach, because you found the first one as the ba, and take it out, throw it away, abandon ignorance. The Buddha said, or the Brahmin in the riddle said, die with the knife, the wise one further. The toad is a symbol for anger and irritation. Throw out the toad, abandon anger and irritation, deal with the knife, wise person. This is the meaning. So the toad, that particular, frog is a symbol of irritation or anger. So I told you that frog or the toad is an animal who can, make his body big like balloon whenever it wants, especially when the thread comes, because especially snake come and try to eat, so that the weapons they have to make their body huge by with air. When people have anger and irritation, they also think that they are big and they are so and so. That is what they think. So then that is the second object we find when we investigate ourselves, according to the sutta. So take it out. It is not good. Throw it away. Just like the Buddha said, just like the Brahmin in the riddle said, throw it away. Now digging continues. The third object we found in the anthill is fork, is a symbol for doubts, right? It is a kind of wood or metal that you have two sides, so you cannot, if you swallow such things, especially children, it is difficult to take it out. So that's why we should be careful of children. So they always put things into their mouth, and they might swallow something like this. And so they found it in the anthill, and it is a symbol of doubt. When you have doubt, there is nothing can be done in the spiritual sense. If you doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, and different teachings and different historical incident, you might end up your whole life with doubts. One after the other, doubt comes and make a mountain like doubts, so that you cannot escape from that. So we shouldn't be making doubts about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So that's we have to understand who the Buddha is and what the Dhamma is. That is for sure. Then only you do not have doubts. But if there is a doubt, you have all the other defilements in mind. So the Brahmin in the riddle said to throw away the pork and continue digging. In the teachings of the Buddha, Buddha asks us to go away from doubt, deal with the doubt, overcome the doubt, and then open up your mind to accept the Dhamma, accept the reality. Then the strainer is a symbol for the five hindrance, namely the sensual pleasure, ill will, and sloth and torpor, and restlessness and worry and remorse, and doubt again. So the Brahmin in the riddle asked the wise person to throw it away and continue, digging the anthill. In the Dhamma, Buddha said clearly that we have to overcome the five hindrances. It is a not these all these are very important, very big Dhamma topics, so that we cannot discuss them in details, but understand the riddle of the anthill now in the discourse and see the significance of digging them out from our mind. So the strainer is nothing but a symbol for five hindrances. The Brahmin said, overcome them. Buddha said, overcome them. The tortoise is a symbol for the five aggregates affected by clinging, pancha upadanaskandha. Tortoise is taken in Satipatthana just to show you how we should guard our senses. Actually, the tortoise has four legs and the head and also a tail. So these six things are likened to six senses in Satipatthana. But here we have seen slightly different things. Five aggregates of clinging are compared to tortoise, four legs, and the head. So when you find the tortoise, the Brahmin said to the wise person, keep it out, throw it away. In the Dhamma, in the Buddha's explanation, we find five aggregates affected by clinging, namely the material form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, what we call vijnana. So abandon five uh, aggregates affected by clinging and continue the digging of the body here according to the Dhamma. It means not only the body, just yourself, I, me, and myself. So then the butcher's knife and block is a symbol for the five chord of sensual pleasures. Five chord of sensual pleasures, as you know, five chord of sensual pleasure means the form, sounds, smell, taste, and tangible objects. These are the five things that are agreeable, pleasing our mind. So, so they are called the butcher's knife and also the butcher's knife and the block. Uh, so these five sensual pleasures that are wished for, desired, agreeable, and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. Throw that out according to the Brahmin, to the wise person. And the Buddha said, of course, we have to overcome the five panchakama, five code of sensual pleasures, because it is the starting of all the problems. For average people, this is not a problem, but for wise people, especially in the teachings of the Buddha and Vinaya, it is a problem. That this is the starting of all kinds of personal, family, social, global problems. The piece of meat is a symbol for delight and lust, Nandiraga. The piece of meat is compared to Nandiraga, the delight and lust. The Brahmin said, throw it away and dig in the anthill again. And the Buddha said that in the first discourse, Nandiraga Sahagata, the very nature of craving Tanna is Nandiraga. So first you like it and you attach to it in a certain way. That makes, that constitute the craving. Uh, then we come to the end of the riddle with the last one. The Naga serpent is a symbol for a bhikkhu who has destroyed the taints. So finally, this wise person end up his digging the anthill when he saw the Naga, the serpent. Then the Brahmin said this wise person not to kill, not to harm the Naga. And in the Dhamma Buddha compares this Naga is to the Arahant. So basically, basically you take yourself as an object. You compare your body as the anthill, then with the weapon of wisdom on the under the basis of perseverance, virya, now you investigate your body. So you found out ignorance as a nature of your mind about the body, about your mind. Then you find doubts, you find anger and irritation, you find what else? Uh, you know, uh, those five hindrances and five aggregates of clinging. Then panchakama, sensual, pleasure out of with form, sounds, and so forth. And you found out Nandiraga. And when you start your investigation with the body, the very idea for us to, for doing this is to find out what exactly obstruct ourselves into this suffering. First, ignorance. And when there is ignorance, there is no way out of this suffering. You are in the suffering because ignorance covers everything from us. So that you cannot see the aggregates, you cannot see the attachment, you cannot see what exactly happened to your mind. So everything is blocked by ignorance. So that's why Buddha asks us to see the ignorance as it is. So then you can see how doubtful you are, how uh, how difficult it is to practice good Dhamma with the five hindrances, and you see the attachment to five aggregates and so on. So this is a very good piece of Dhamma, not only for Venerable Kumara Kassapa, but for all of us to use as a meditation subject and meditate on to get out of this suffering. So I think this is a piece of karmasthana for many people, just like Venerable Kumara Kassapa took it and ended up his training with the full enlightenment. So this teaches finally how to investigate our body and mind together. So there are many things to add, but I just want to let you speak because your understanding is so important for all of us. So we have 20 minutes to go with. Remember the sutta's name, Anthill, Vammika Sutta. It is basically about the anthill. So then uh, picture the anthill in your mind so that compare it to your body. In the anthill you have holes, openings, and it is not shaped as each anthill is different from the other. Some are very tall, some are short, some are wide, and some has some anthills are huge, and not only one peaks, it has many so like these physical bodies, my physical body is different from yours, and there are huge people and short people and thin people, different bodies are there. So just like different anthills we found. So whoever take this meditation subject into consideration can keep these riddles, each and everyone in mind, and later understand what exactly Buddha said. So doubts, then panya, virya, and we should have them in order to investigate, so that sila also develop as a part of the investigation. Then mindfulness is there as well. So now you see the ignorance, doubts, five hindrances, and five aggregates, and other defiled state in your mind about the body and about the mind, so that you can at the end you have Naga in mind, which is the Arahants as the symbol of as the symbol of perfect person. So you are going to be like that. So that is also given at the end of the discourse. So Venerable Kumara Kassapa now understand this riddle of anthill, and not like us maybe, because he got it and attained full enlightenment within a short period of time. So his understanding would be so much so that he directly went to the meditation, and within a short period of time he completed his training in the Noble Eightfold Path. So yeah, anything to add? Anything to comment?
One thing is, looking at this sutra, I mean, normally in sutras, when they would talk about, for example, ignorance, or like there's a stepwise pattern, there's like a connection one lead to another. I mean, this has some connections, like, for example, beginning, the big problem is ignorance. You throw the ignorance. To get rid of the ignorance, you use wisdom as your weapon and put the effort And at the end of the day, you will find at the bottom of this, the craving is the main root. And once you remove the main root, you become an arahat, the naga, right? In between the other factors, like I'm trying to rack my brain to figure out, is there any connection, or is these are random, like other factors, 5 aggregates they throw in, they put the 5 hindrances they throw in. Are they just like a contemplative factors, or is there a connection you could make between the other factors? I couldn't quite make a connection.
Yeah, I think your question is really nice, because I think the divine, the Brahma came and explained this riddle to Venerable Kumara Kassapa, and Buddha did not want to make it otherwise, and he answered the riddle one by one as the riddle says. That is why we have ignorance first, and then doubts, and then what do you call, anger and irritation, and then doubts, and 5 hindrances aggregates. I think Buddha wanted to give the meaning of those, different, you know, uh, you know, names, the Dhamma to different words and animals and things in the riddle. But as you said, this is a different set of, patterns of teaching. Uh, just because I think this Brahma is a wise person and anagami, and we found this Brahma come to Daruchirya, and he said something very deep to him as well. And actually he was Daruchiri was asked to go to the north of the country to find the Buddha. You are not the Arahant. And this, the second occasion, he came out and helped his friend. And I think the teaching is deep, and I think Kumarakassapa did not want to, Buddha did not want to explain these things step by step, because Kumarakassapa's ability to understand the teaching and connection with the teaching is clear. He was a wise person. Buddha knew that this Kumarakassa was a educated, not educated, I mean intelligent person. That's why Buddha did not go to explain, okay, this come first in your training, and the second one is this, and after this you have to address this, and so on. So Buddha did not go to make such connection there, just because, in my understanding, in my opinion, that Kumarakassapa was wise, and also that the riddle is there, and he follows that method instead of going to make a kind of step-by-step training. Because we see in other teachings that you have to address the 5 hindrances first in order to see the level of ignorance you have, and then you take asavas or sangyojanas, and you see at the end the 5 aggregates of clinging as they are, just to make a strong shift from there to kind of enlightened state. So we can see gradual progress and training and progress in other teaching, but we do not see it here, because the riddle of the anthill is there, and would they stick to that. And at the same time, Venerable Kumarakassapa was wise, and he wanted to get the explanation of the riddle. That's all, I think. Otherwise, we all have the understanding that what we should do first. Actually, it is good to say that you should have wisdom, or samma dittya or yoniso manasikara as the weapon to start the digging out this body. Without that, you cannot. And virya should be there. And we do not talk about mindfulness here, but it should be there as well. So that's why I see that Buddha wanted to explain the riddle. That's all he wanted.
Got it. Thank you.
Venerable sir, shall I add a point?
Why not?
Yeah, I understood in a different way. Buddha shows actually the pahana, like Vitkambana pahana. Then he shows Tadanga, Samucheda, Patipassadi, and Nissarana accordingly. This is how I understood the ant here.
Yeah.
How he let go each and every step. First it is Vikambana, the Nivarana and all that. Then it came to Tadanga, comparison. Then it came to Samucheda, like destruction. Then it came to Patipassadi, like Samadhi and all that. And finally the Naga, the Nissara.
Yeah, we appreciate your approach with the different overview on the riddle. So could you elaborate further? Because this is how we deal with the kilesa, the defilement. Whatever dhamma you use, the first thing happen is tadanga prahana. Tadanga prahana means suppression of defilement for a short period of time. It happens even when we recite the Karaniyametta Sutta, even when we recite the Itipiso Bhagava, and even when we offer flowers, or even when we just talk about some charity work, so our mind get out of the uh, presence of defilement that come from greed, hatred, and delusion. That is called tadanga prana. And vikambana prana is a temporary suppression, but for a period of time, especially when you attain to samadhi level, dhyana level, you have get rid of those five hindrances, and of course that is called vikambana prana. And as you said, samucheda prana is happening when somebody take the roots course of suffering out from mind and no more at all. So when one attains to Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Aryan, Samucheda Prahana, is taking place. So yeah, we can see that. So could you elaborate further how Tadanga Prahana could happen? With what explanation in the riddle tadanga prana could happen, and with what riddle or part of the riddle or the kilesa Buddha talks about that vikambana prana happen, and where and which dhamma when we take which dhamma samucheda prana. Could you please elaborate a little bit for others?
Yeah. First of all, it is like uh, taking out avidya, like the bar, taking out. And at that moment, we understand sort of like we substitute like vikambana, like not really getting rid of, but we'll get rid of the avidya. Then comes
taking a part of avidya.
Yeah. And then comes the five hindrances. Five hindrances is the turtle, I think, tortoise.
Yeah.
And there it comes to actually, it is also vikambana, I consider as vikambana, because we temporary let go. Then tadanga I took, where the comparison, the first the toad, then the turtle, then comes another.
I see what you exactly say. Yes.
Yeah, and then samucheda is when it comes to really letting go, like magga satya. Like this person to whom this was said may be anagami. That's what I understood. And Patipassadi is the leading path, and Nisarana is the Naga section.
Yeah, so what you are suggesting here is that you take the whole riddle of anthill and also the Dhamma behind, and then practice the Dhamma just to
let go.
Let go in three ways, like let go of defilement, let go of attachment in three ways. First, Tadanga, then Vikambana, and Samucheda. So, very true. It is good to say that you understand the riddle and the importance of the Dhamma behind it, and take the flight to enlighten.
Because we can apply it.
Yeah.
for application and meditation, this way we used to, because I have studied this earlier, and we applied it in meditation accordingly to let go certain steps, like with connection to defilements.
Indeed. Thank you. So actually, if we look at the comparison, this anthill is quite similar to the physical body. That is quite enough for some people to get this ego mind out of their mind. Because if you think that you are very beautiful and you are the most beautiful person, and I am the most educated person, I am the richest person, so everybody should respect me because I am so and so. This, these are some of the features of an ego mind. So if you understand that your body is like the anthill, anthill is made by small sand, by the ants, and though you see the very strong structure, it is made by with so little, so small sand. And if you understand your body is in the similar way, how could you have that ego mind? Because you know the fact that this body is made by four great elements, and it is supported by the material food, milk given by the mother, and the meeting of the mother and father made this opportunity for these persons to get this huge body, and it is subject to impermanence. And if you take the five aggregates into this analysis, you can see that it is all about five aggregates. So of course you have taken that those defilement out of your mind temporarily, because this is a powerful self-observation. So yeah, Venerable Kumara Kassapa, I think got this message in number of ways, because his ability to understand the Dhamma and deliver it is extraordinary. So at the time Buddha explained this riddle of anthill to Venerable Kumara Kassapa, I think he understood this riddle of Dhamma in many ways. That's why he was able to attain to full enlightenment with some skills within a short period of time. Very true. Yeah, that's how, your explanation, my explanation, and somebody else's explanation, and the way of understanding would not be matching with somebody else's overview, because we are looking at the Dhamma from our own perspectives. We all practice the Dhamma in our capacities, and we take the Dhamma into that and see from that perspective, so that we would be seeing the Dhamma in a different way. I appreciate uh, you know, your own view about it, and the way you practice it. And if you could be able to overcome hindrances, and anger and irritation is also a part of hindrances, that is pretty good. We cannot argue on that your way of observation is wrong and mine is right. No, there are many other ways to look at the Dhamma. Thank you very much for your addition. So is there anyone who wants to say something? We can spend 1 or 2 minutes. So having taken these discourses into your consideration, just speed up your investigation into your body and mind. See how the Buddha, how venerable monks who attained full enlightenment understood the life on the basis of Dhamma. So something out in the environment is taken very nicely and molded it and show the Dhamma. I think the Buddha's wisdom is also appreciated very much, not by monks and nuns and upasaka, even divine beings. This deity, of course, Brahma, the very word we use in Pali and Sinhala, Brahma was anagami at the, who, who attained to it, that state during the time of the Buddha Kassapa, at the last stage of his sasana. Now he was in the Brahma realm where he was until this Buddha attain to full enlightenment and deliver the Dhamma. Do you think that hidden things that we all should think that this world is not out of arahant? So Buddha said that if the noble eightfold path is being practiced, whether it is in human realm or divine, there the world would not be empty from those enlightened persons. I think they do not. There would be many. Even now, that deity would be in the Brahma realm. And how many anagamis by their name passed away during the time of the Buddha, and they would be in Viha Brahma world or other four Brahma world they exist. So it is really interesting to think that this world still, this universe still has has arahants and maybe anagamis, maybe sakadagami, and so on, could be everywhere.
Hamdunne,
Yes.
just a thought that came to me by listening. Now, in this sutta, the Venerable, I would call him actually Venerable because Kumara Kashyapa, they are all very advanced people. They are not people who just came from the street and asked for the Dhamma. And the fact that an Anagami Brahma comes and tells him also is not a normal occurrence because they are very advanced people. I mean, especially about Kumara Kashyapa also. And the other thing is, the Buddha also always explained the Dhamma, the salient features of Dhamma through similes because you can't have words to explain certain things. Now, in this case, we cannot equate our own thinking about samatha or what we know or what we learn to this sutta similes. It's actually this is what I thought I'll express in my thinking. It's actually how you arrive at especially a person like Kumara Kashyapa, they are very well advanced at that time. They are not ordinary people. They only miss that small part in the Chaturara Satya, Anicca Dukkha Anatma. So basically, I think it's that part that all these people missed. So is it?
I do not hear you anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically I was saying that I mean it's very kind of
Yeah, you are saying that Venerable Kumara Kashyapa was a wise person because of his long practice from the time the Buddha Kashyapa appeared in the world.
yes.
Yeah, it is true. For an average person, for a person who is striving in the beginning of the training, may not be able to take the deep teaching behind the riddle of the anthill, just like Venerable Kumara Kashyapa. That is true. But when we hear those discourses, there are some parts we can apply, we can think of, we can start thinking based on the discourse. Like, when I was a novice monk, I was always taking some tips of Dhamma just to make my mind out of suffering. We were not that drawn to get deep teaching into our head and overcome some sort of problems. But one or two things helped me a lot. Let me share with you that in Marananusmati chanting and Asubhanusati chanting, there are certain words that always we recite. Punya Vacha Kutivya. It is said that this body is just like a cesspit, toilet. When this word comes to my mind, I feel so joyful. I feel so calm because I quickly connect with the Buddha statement that this body is like punya macha kutivya, or this body is like a toilet. So in the toilet, what we have is something very filthy, very ugly. So this body is also like that. That is the way the Buddha asks us to think. So it keeps me so it keeps me away from any attachment, any suffering, any problems. And the other thing is that Pavata Deepatulyaya Sayu Santatiyakaya Parupamaya Sampasa. So this life is just like drawn in the water. It could, it could disappear with a small thing. And just like the line on the drawn of the water, this life is going to disappear, die. And this life is like just like the drops of water at the edge of the grass. With the sun rising, the water evaporates. So these things, when we recited these verses, my mind goes into calmness and peace. So yeah, true that we do not have the uh, deep understanding, just like Venerable Kumarakasa, Venerable Daruchirya, just to get into nirvana quickly. But some sort of mental management positively could be done with the simile of anthill, with the simile of tortoise, and with the simile of strainer, and what else, the piece of meat. So we can remember those terms and similes just to get into the right mental, right mode of our mind, and get out of the intense power of or influence of those defilements. So I think
Yes,
I can see
Alhamdulillah.
that.
What I'm saying is not that we cannot. But I'm just saying, relating to the sutta,
Yeah, I think you're
way
right.
to
Yeah,
referring to the sutta, it's not that that everybody is denied. I mean, so sutta is the only way you can get the real Dhamma of the Buddha. But in the strict analysis of a sutta, in the way of vipassana and yonisu manasikara, it has to be, it is actually explained by the Buddha in similes. So sometimes it's very difficult sometimes. That's why we need a Kalyana Mitra like you,
yeah,
Venerable Jivananda, to actually talk like this. Without a Kalyana Mitra and a and Yonisu Manasikara, it's very difficult to get to the root, because otherwise we get boxed into certain drishtis and we try to equate those to this. That's what I was trying to say. Not that it will deny anybody else.
okay, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know how important the Kalyanamita and their support for us to understand. As a monk, I always seek the company of Kalyanamita, whether it is a monk or layperson. I really keep that in mind in the top place of my priorities, because Dhamma, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Uh, Whether it is from a monk or a layperson, we embrace them with respect. And that is where we hang on to, actually, Kalyanamitta and Dhamma sermon discussion, so that we can clear things one after the other and strengthen our practice. So thank you very much for your contribution. So it's 9:25 now. Let's finish this discussion for today. Thank you very much for participation. Those who listen to, get something out of your explanation and our explanation, and from the sutra, try to remember the sutra itself and develop your interpretation based on that. Keep the sutra as it is, and take whatever you want and analyze in your own way, and try to see others understand. That's how we do. So we did that together, and thank you very much for that. And finally, I wish you I wish you all the energy for you to become a naga. In the riddle of the anthill, the Kumara Kassapa was asked to find the naga. That means he was indirectly invited to become a arahant, and he did that. And we all also should find a naga in us, which means we all find an arahant in us. It could be done. Try your hard, and I am trying my hard, and try your best, so that we all be an arahant one day. So for the blessings from me for you to do that, and may you all stay peaceful tonight, and tomorrow and throughout the week, and see you next week for the Sutta discussion. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Silavantang gunavantang punyakitang anuttarang durlabena maya laddang buddha puttang namamang sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Thank you very much for